case, it is a diverse group of chronic conditions comprising the mental or physical impairments that arise before the adulthood. So when we say IDDs, these are the persons with the mental disabilities and also the physical features. There's also a delay of the development of the physical and the mental abilities. So when we say intellectual disability, it is referred to as the mental retardation, in which mental retardation it is a delay of their mental growth. It is characterized by a combination of the deficits in both cognitive and functioning in an adaptive behavior. So the severity of the intellectual disability is determined by the discrepancy between their capabilities in learning and also the expectation of the social environment. Mental retardation is a term na ginagamit siya to the persons who have certain limitations in the mental functioning and skills such as communicating, taking care of himself or herself, and social skills. So intellectual disability means that there is a delay on the growth of their physical and the mental abilities. They cannot reason out, they cannot solve their problems with their own. So mental retardation referred as a mental delay. But before they used mental retardation instead of intellectual disability. But nowadays they use the intellectual disability because of the word mental retardation is in a negative way. So this intellectual disability replaced the term mongoloid or the Mongolism, which is used as a medical term to describe a person with a Down syndrome. So we have here the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Health Disorders, which they list the three main diagnostic criteria for intellectual disability. First is the impairment of intellectual functioning. It is the loss or there is a delay of their growth in terms of their intelligence quotient. So when we say intellectual functioning, this is also known as the intelligence quotient. The second one is the impairment of adaptive skills, in which adaptive skills, these are the life skills needed by a person to function in his daily life. So these adaptive skills is classified into three categories, and later on we will discuss the three categories. And the last one is the classification of intellectual disability. So when we say intellectual disability was classified according to the degree of mental retardation and occupational category. So first, let us discuss the impairment of intellectual functioning. So first is intellectual functioning. When we say intellectual functioning, refers to the ability of the person to learn, reason, solve problems, and make decisions. So here, a student or a person who has IDD cannot reason out on himself or herself, and he cannot make decisions easily. So through the IQ test, like verbal reasoning, number series, we can test the intelligence of these tests. The second one is the impairment in adaptive skills. So here, this is divided into three categories, which is the conceptual skills, social skills, and practical life skills. So these adaptive skills, again, it is these skills that we need to use in order to go on our daily life. So these adaptive skills are assessed using the standardized tests. We can use the checklist, interview guides, and others. So first is the conceptual skills. So this includes the reading, writing, counting, time, money, and communication skills. So we can say that the person has IDD if he cannot easily read just like the normal people. He cannot write. He doesn't know how to count just like a normal people. The second one is the social skills. So this includes the following social norms and obeying those. So the students who have, or the person who has the IDD doesn't know what the right or wrong. All he thinks is that all he do is right. Or lahat ng kanyang ginagawa is for him who has an IDD is tama yun, and wala siyang nilalabag na law. The third one is the practical life skills. So this includes the self-care, home living, and the use intellectual disability. So dito natin malalaman kung gaano ba ka-severe o ka-mild ang mayroon if that person has the intellectual disability. So intellectual disability is mostly nag-start siya between 0 to 18 years old. So on the training module on the mental retardation for Aida Damian, the intellectual disability was classified according to the degree of the mental retardation and educational category. So, first is the mild mental retardation. We can say na mild lang yung mental retardation niya or yung intellectual disability niya if his IQ test level is the 50 to 55 to approximately 70. So, dito is makaka-acquire pa rin siya ng mga skills and makakapasok pa rin siya sa schools but on his elementary years lang. Then, he can also support oneself totally or partially at an adult level to some degree of the economic help. The second one is the moderate mental retardation. So, dito, yung IQ level niya lang is 35 to 40 to 50 to 55. So, it can be trained in self-help skills such as dressing, feeling, toileting, social adjustment at home, and to neighborhood, and to some degree of economic usefulness. So, dito is the or the person who has intellectual disability in the skills such as the dressing, the feeling, toileting, social adjustment, and also to some degree of the economic usefulness. Then the next one is the severe mental retardation. So dito, yung IQ level niya lang is 20 to 25 to 35 to 40. So dito is that mamamaster niya pa yung mga basic health skills and some communication skills but not totally as the mild mental retardation. And dito naman sa profound mental retardation, yung IQ level niya is below 20. So dito is result to severe limitation in self-care and communication. So dito is that hindi niya nakaya on how to handle herself and also how to communicate with others. So next, we have here the signs and symptoms of the intellectual and developmental disability. So first, we can say that the person has a mental as a IDD based on his physical features. So some medical conditions such as Down syndrome or the chromosome 21. So it is the fetal alcohol and cerebral palsy that shows obvious signs that are noticeable. So dito is yung paglapad ng kanyang noo and also yung face niya talaga is that there's a difference between the normal people and the person who has the IDD. But some of the people or the person who's IDD has a perfect and normal physical appearance because sometimes yung kanilang is the mental ability lang nila yung masasabi mo na may IDD. The second one is the developmental delay. So children with intellectual disability experience delay in their development milestone like sitting, crawling, and walking. So dito is malalaman mo agad na may IDD pa siya, may IDD if the student or the person is since pamilya niya there's developmental delay na like for example 1-year-old na siya, doon pa lang siya natutun how to sit or how to crawl. And also in another example in the elementary years like past grade there's a developmental delay sa kanya there's a developmental delay. Then the next one is the problems in logical and abstract thought. So dito is hindi agad makaka-reason out yung person who has the IDD. And also they struggle to learn and retain the information quickly. So kailangan sa mga students with IDD is that kailangan mo ulit-ulitin for them to remember that it is difficult for these learners to identify the relationship between similar but different things. And lastly, there's behavior. So these children we may exhibit behavior demands of the environment. They tend to low impulse control, poor frustration tolerance, and have difficulty in delaying gratification. So dito, yung students was an ITT cannot, hindi sila mapakali on the road. Like, mas gusto nila to go around to, and also they also show extreme behavior such as overly aggressive. So, minsan, pag hindi nila masusunod agad yung hindi masusunod yung mga gusto nila is that they tend to do the aggressive doings. And that's all for my report.
Point number 1, today I'll be reporting causes of intellectual disability with mental confusion. So for overview, I will be talking about Down syndrome, Fragile X syndrome, Prader-Willi syndrome, and Prader-Willi syndrome. So Down syndrome, or trisomy 21, is the most popular and best known kind of chromosomal abnormality that is associated with mental retardation. Down syndrome was introduced by Dr. John Lambda Brown in 1959. According to him, Down syndrome data an accident in cell development which results in 47 instead of 46 chromosomes. Hindi pa nila nalalaman yung real cause ng Down syndrome, but they attributed it to thyroid problems, drugs, and exposure to radiation, and maternal age can also be the main reason. Now, yung characteristics ng Down syndrome type, independent po, ito yung pag-slant ng eyes sa inner corner ng eyes. Another one is the simian face. Ito yung short closed hands and short fingers and the simple breeds across the palm. Broad feet with short toes, short, low-set ears, flat ridge of nose, short neck, small head with protruding palm and poor muscle tone, as well as kids with Down syndrome is prone to respiratory problems. Hence, they also have visual problems such as crossed eyes and poor or short-sighted. They have mild to moderate hearing loss and speech difficulty. They also have heart problems, intestinal tract problem, tendency to become disease. They have leukemia and thyroid problems. So ito yung characteristic na Down syndrome. Makikita sa likod ng neck nila, meron silang redundant slits. Yung head nila kahit parang short yung length kaysa sa wing ng head. Then, they have small ear with over-folded helix, flat facial profile, then sobra yung tongue nila. Next is the Fragile X syndrome. A person with this kind of disorder has a weak or fragile X chromosome of the phantom pair. So according to researchers, yung Fragile X syndrome kaka-affect sa 750 males and about 1 in 750 males and about 1 in 1,250 females. So making it one of the most common inherited causes of mental retardation as cited by Garfield 2009. So yung Fragile X syndrome, yung man who carries disability or syndrome, kaya mabukas niya yung chromosomes niya sa lahat ng babae niyang anak. Then, pero hindi niya mababasa yung syndrome niya sa mga lalaki ng anak. But sa mga babae na carrier na Fragile X syndrome, merong 50% chance na yung mababasa niya sa lahat ng anak niya yung sakit. Next, yung characteristics ng Fragile X syndrome. Most boys have mental retardation, 1/3 to half of the girls have mental retardation, and the rest have either learning disability or normal IQ. Also have attention deficit, hyperactivity, speech and language problems, some psychomotor behavior, anxiety, and unstable mood. The characteristics also have we have autistic-like behavior, large ears, long narrow face, a prominent forehead, and large head. They also have enlarged testicles and large feet. They also have hyperextensive joints, especially in fingers. Bata na mayroong Fragile X. So, meron silang broad forehead, elongated face, large prominent ears, crossed eyes, high, large, extendable joints, and pulses, presentation chest, which have bald prolapse, low muscle tone, soft, fleshy skin, and large testicles, flat skin, and 10% of children with Fragile X syndrome experience seizures. And next, the Prader-Willi syndrome. So, this syndrome was first recognized as a syndrome in 1956 by Prader-Lombard and so it is one of the most common microdeletion syndrome and genetic causes of obesity. It is caused by a very small deletion in chromosome 8. Prader-Willi syndrome, about 50% occur when paternal genes on chromosome 15 are missing. And another 25% of the cases, the child inherited two copies of chromosome 15 from the mother and none from the father. So this phenomenon is called maternal and parental dysfunction. Prader-Willi syndrome can also be caused by a chromosomal rearrangement called translocation or by a mutation or other defect that abnormally turns off genes on the paternal chromosome. Characteristics of Prader-Willi syndrome are mental retardation and impaired body control, hypotonia and poor motor control, short stature, narrow forehead and small hands and feet, insatiable appetite and low metabolism, high pain tolerance and low sensory input. They have behavior difficulties such as temper tantrums, stubbornness, non-compliance and resistance to change. Show signs of obsessive compulsive disorder. They also have osteoporosis, thick vicious saliva, fair skin, and light color again. So ito yung picture ng tao na Prader-Willi. That's all.
Good morning, everyone. So today we will discuss the Williams syndrome. So what is Williams syndrome? So it is a rare disorder caused by missing genes of chromosome 7. So as you see in the pictures of the picture, so meron siyang large ears, yung mga features ng Williams syndrome. Also, small teeth. Right. So it affects physical development and learning. So as you see kanina sa ating picture. Next is we have the effects of Williams. What happens when you have Williams syndrome? So like facial features. So I will not explain it further. As you see, meron naman tayo pictures that will explain or that you will see kung ano siya. Next, moderate to mild retardation. So dito sa mild retardation is IT IQ scores between 55 to 70 need only internment to limited support and often not identified until entering school. So, hindi pa siya makikita until hindi ka ba mag-enter ng school. Next is impulsive and outgoing personality. We have limited spatial skills and water control. So, as you see sa picture, parang wala silang control when drinking water, parang hindi ko nila kaya. So, that's it. Blood vessel and heart problem. Hypercalcemia, high blood calcium level. Feeding problems, low birth weight, slow weight gain. So, wala silang ganang kumain. And kidney and dental problems. So, as you see in the picture, hyperacousia, sensitive hearing. So, yun. Next, we will discuss the metabolic and nutritional disorders. So, we have galactosemia. So, what is galactosemia? So, galactosemia is a genetic disorder where infants cannot process lactose. So, lactose is a type of sugar that is found in milk and other dairy products. So, galactosemia is if the body can break down lactose properly, it builds up blood and becomes toxic. This causes serious health problems if not treated. So, ang important to take note in galactosemia, babies with galactosemia must avoid milk and foods with lactose. So, di ba, ang mga babies, hindi pa sila pwede sa mga sweets or may mga sugar. Next, we have phenylketonuria or PKU. So, it is another genetic disorder where the baby's body can process a part of protein called phenylalanine. So, kung ang galactosemia is hindi sila pwede sa mga sugar or glucose, dito naman sa phenylketonuria is hindi sila pwede sa mga protein. So, yung phenylalanine is natural building blocks found in milk, meat, eggs, and other high-protein foods. So, of course, hindi naman talaga pwedeng mag-eat ang mga babies na ganito, hindi ko na sila maka-chew. So, why is it a problem? Itong phenylketonuria. It is a broken down, it builds up the baby's blood, high levels become toxic and can damage the brain. So, it can affect the brain of the baby. So, babies with PKU are diagnosed early through simple blood tests. They must follow special low-protein diet to avoid foods and phenylalanine. With careful diet and treatment, babies with PKU can grow up healthy. So, here is maagapan ka siya if mag-treat siya earlier. Now, we will discuss developmental disorders of the brain formation. So, cranial malformation can also result to mental retardation. So, we have here the three parts, which is necrocephaly. It is one of most common conditions with small head and severe retardation. So, that's it. Hydrocephalus, opposite wherein it appears the enlargement of cranial cavity because of interference of low and cerebrospinal fluid. Next, we have the last one is a developmental disorder of brain formation, anencephaly, in which a large portion of the brain does not develop. All three cranial malformation can lead to mental retardation. Next, we will discuss the types of infections that can cause intellectual disability. So first, we have the rubella or German measles. So this one is emotional infection. If a pregnant woman gets rubella during first 3 months of pregnancy, the virus can hurt the development of baby. So what are the possible causes or results of rubella? Low birth weight or the baby is smaller than normal, intellectual disability, may learning problem yung baby, magka-learning problem yung baby, heart defects, heart doesn't form properly, and vision problems. So, the baby can have trouble in seeing. Next, we have sexually transmitted disease. So, AIDS, syphilis, and herpes, infections that can pass between people during sexual contact or sharing needles. So, AIDS is ano naman siya, common na siya sa inyo, and yeah, we all know this term. And a pregnant woman infected with this disease can pass the infection to her baby. And through the placenta, the organ that connects the baby mother, this infection can, so anong mga infections ang mag-cause ng sexually transmitted disease sa baby? So it can damage the baby's immune system, attack the baby's brain and spinal cord, and can cause mental retardation or mental retardation and intellectual disability. Next, we have RH incompatibility. So, what is it? So, a blood has special protein called RH factor. So, RH positive, meron tayo RH positive and RH negative. So, RH positive means you have protein. RH negative means you do not have protein. So, problem happens when a mother is RH negative. And the baby is RH positive. The mother body sees the baby's blood as foreign and attacks it, making antibodies. This cause, so itong infections, naman siya sa baby ng mental retardation or intellectual disability or cerebral palsy, a condition that affects muscle control, and epilepsy, a disorder causing seizures. So, good news naman dito sa RH incompatibility is it can usually be prevented today with special medicine during pregnancy. So, this is all my presentation. I hope you learned something.
Good morning, everyone. Let's proceed to the fourth infection, which is toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasmosis can be found in fecal matter, raw meat, and eggs. Fetal infection may occur if the mother was exposed during her third trimester. This can lead to mental retardation, cerebral palsy, blindness, microcephaly, and other serious conditions. So this is parasites often found in things like cat faces, raw meat, or uncooked eggs. Now, if a woman gets infected during her third trimester, the parasite can pass to the baby. That can lead to serious problems like mental retardation, blindness, and cerebral palsy, and even microcephaly, which is an abnormally small head. For example, a pregnant woman cleaning a litter box without gloves could unknowingly inhale or touch contaminated material and put her baby at serious risk. The next infection is cytomegalovirus. Cytomegalovirus, a part of herpes group. Most women may develop immunity from previous exposure to this virus. The fetus will be severely affected if the mother has initial exposure to virus. This can result in brain damage, blindness, and hearing impairment. So it belongs to herpes family. Most women have already been exposed and immune. But if a woman gets infected for the first time during pregnancy, the baby can be severely affected. This virus can cause brain damage, blindness, and hearing loss. That's why doctors often advise avoiding close contact with sick people or sharing utensils, especially with young children who often carry the virus unknowingly. Now let's talk about maternal behavior. That means what the mother does during pregnancy. Pregnant women who are reckless with their behavior can endanger the fetus in their womb. Smoking, using illegal drugs, and drinking alcohol beverage can harm the central nervous system
system and can lead to serious damage such as mental retardation, physical deformities, heart defects, attention disorder, and behavioral problems. If she smokes, drinks, alcohol, or uses illegal drugs, it can seriously harm the baby's central nervous system. These harmful substances cross into the baby's bloodstream and may cause mental retardation, birth defects, and behavioral problems later on. For instance, a baby exposed to alcohol in the womb may be born with fetal alcohol syndrome, showing facial deformities, attention problems, and learning difficulties. Let's move on to parental causes. The birth process is a difficult one. Some problems arise even at this stage that can lead to different developmental delay like mental retardation. For instance, if the mother has a difficult and prolonged delivery or the umbilical cord was damaged, this can lead to anosmia or oxygen deprivation or hypoxia or insufficient oxygen. One major issue is anosmia. When the baby doesn't get enough oxygen, or hypoxia means where the oxygen is too low. This can happen during prolonged or difficult labor, or if there's a problem with the umbilical cord. So here are the other examples, which are obstetrical or birth trauma, where the incorrect use of forceps can lead to damage to an infant's mouth due to excessive pressure. Next is delivering position. Problems like breech presentation may cause damage in the umbilical cord or an injury to the infant's head. Next is precipitous birth may cause fetal injury or a head injury since the infant passes through the canal quickly. Let's proceed to postnatal causes. The first one is infections. Even after birth, the infant is still vulnerable to different factors that can affect his development. Childhood disease such as mumps, measles, and chickenpox can cause complications that can lead to meningitis. Likewise, encephalitis is another overwhelming complication. After birth, babies are still at risk from infection. Diseases like mumps, measles, or chickenpox can lead to complications such as meningitis, which inflames the brain protective covering, or encephalitis, which inflames the brain tissue itself. Both can cause brain damage and, in some cases, lead to permanent developmental issues. The next factor is environmental factors. The first environmental factor is toxins. Toxins, lead, and mercury poisoning are two environmental toxins that can cause mild mental retardation, according to Cosman and staff. Children can be exposed to toxins like lead and mercury, often found in old paint, pipes, or contaminated toys. This can cause mild mental retardation or even a seizure. Next is adverse living condition. Most children under the lower socioeconomic class are at risk of mental retardation. And let's not forget the effects of poverty. Children from low-income families may lack proper nutrition, health care, or early education. All of this can affect brain development and increase the risk of mental delays. Finally, the traumatic brain injury, or TBI. This is an acquired injury to the brain caused by an external physical force resulting in total or partial functional disability or psychosocial impairment, or both, that adversely affects a child's educational performance. This happens TBI can cause partial or total disability. It may affect how a child learns, communicate, or interact socially. These are the common signs of TBI are, and these are difficulty in reading, writing, planning, understanding, and sequencing. Next is problem in speaking, seeing, hearing, and using other senses. Next is problems in short-term and long-term memory. Next is changes in mood, anxiety, and depression. Next is problems in balancing and walking. And lastly is seizure.
Good day everyone! Today I will be discussing different strategies, techniques, and approaches that are proven effective for students with intellectual disabilities. So these methods help students not only learn academic skills, but also develop functional, social, and daily living skills essential for their independence. First, the parents, teachers, and other professionals should work hand in hand on how to explore different options to train these individuals to become independent and self-sufficient. First, let's talk about the multisensory approach. So this method is based on Confucius' philosophy, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. In the classroom, this means that teachers involve all the senses, such as seeing, hearing, touching, and sometimes even tasting and smelling to help students understand and retain information better. So this is important because students with intellectual disabilities may have different learning styles. Some are visual learners who learn best by seeing, some are auditory learners who learn best by hearing, and some are kinesthetic learners who learn best through physical activities and movement. So by engaging multiple senses, we increase the chances that each student will grasp and retain what is being taught. The next strategy is called the task analysis. So in this method, complex skills are broken down into smaller, manageable steps. So for example, we have washing hands and brushing teeth steps. So for brushing teeth, it isn't taught all at once. So instead, it is divided into steps. First, get the toothbrush, put toothpaste, brush the teeth up and down, brush the front and back, rinse the mouth, and skip the water. So each step is taught one at a time, practiced and mastered before moving to the next. So this way, students experience small success which build their confidence and make the learning less overwhelming. Next, we have the experiential learning by David Koch. So here, students learn by doing and experiencing activities in real world or simulated situation. So for example, instead of just reading about how to fill out a form, the student actually practices filling out a real form, or they may follow a recipe or complete a mock job application. This method is especially helpful for students with intellectual disabilities because it provides hands-on learning which tends to be easier to understand than abstract concepts. Next is the thematic unit approach. This method integrates different subjects like reading, math, and science under a single theme based on the students' real-life experiences. So for instance, if the theme is family, lessons in reading could involve family stories. Some math, it could involve counting family members, and science could involve learning about human growth. So this makes lessons more relatable, meaningful, and engaging for students with intellectual disabilities, allowing them to connect new information to what they already know. The last method is the Montessori approach, developed by Dr. Maria Montessori. So Dr. Montessori believed that children with special needs learn best through
education, and in this context, these materials are concrete, sensory-based learning tools that guide children in discovering concepts independently. So for example, ng didactic materials are movable alphabet. It is a cut-out letters used to build words, helping students with spelling and phonics. And we have the pouring and scooping sets. These tools for transferring grains or liquids from one container to another, improving hand-eye coordination and motor control. So in this approach, learning happens naturally and orderly, promoting both independence and self-confidence among students. So for students with intellectual disabilities, the curriculum focuses on teaching skills that they will need to become independent adults. The key areas are employability skills for future jobs, social skills for communication and relationships, communication skills including speaking and understanding others, self-regulation and self-direction to manage emotions and actions, self-care and daily living skills such as dressing, grooming, and eating, basic literacy and numeracy for